So I'm just going to turn on the turntable. I'm not going to actually like play the record, but just so you can hear the what actually is happening. So there it is. So it's just closing that circuit right there. There's the sound of the pulse generator. Hey YouTube, it's Cash. So today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm just going to shoot my intro video with my iPhone. This is going to be the easiest way to kind of show you exactly what I'm doing. I always get a lot of questions when using test equipment. This way I'll be able to show you exactly how everything's kind of patched together. So today we're doing mechanical sampling and mechanical sequencing with flexi discs and test equipment. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to show you. Okay, so here it is. This is what drives everything, or this is what's going to be clocking and sampling. So I'm using a vinyl record, and over top of it I've attached a flexi disc. And if you don't know what that is, you can check out a previous video. That's basically what this series is about. So I just simply cut it in half to make a simple sample. It makes it easier because, you know, when I'm trying to do these aluminum foil triggers, or this is what's going to close the switch here. I just did a very simple, like just split it into quarters, and then I built this arm. Or well, I didn't build it all. I used it out of spare parts, and I got all these pieces because I was in quarantine and I was just using stuff around the house. I used like a combination square, which is perfect because it's like 12 inches, and I can adjust the length of it. And I made these two pieces here, which can be adjusted, and all this stuff can turn, and I can make these really close together or really far apart. I can use two different turntables with this, whatever I want to do. These are just going to close a switch, and then this is going to go over to this guy here and here. So what I did is basically, you can do this with any piece of test equipment that basically has a manual switch, but you got to be careful because it has to be a very simple manual switch. Something like here we go. This WaveTech, for example, has a manual switch, but it's a multiple pole. It's like I think a 6-pole switch, so it won't work with something as simple as this. So basically, oh, by the way, yeah, basically I just used a copper wire, and you just use something like this and just clipped off some pieces, and it just scrapes kind of across there, and then closes the circuit when it hits the aluminum foil. So you want to hear exactly what's happening. I just use one of the other outputs, and I just put it into this cheap speaker here. So it's just connected in the top, and just to show you, or so you can hear exactly what's happening. This is what's going on here. So I'm just going to turn on the turntable. I'm not going to actually play the record, but just so you can hear what actually is happening. So there it is. So it's just closing that circuit right there. There's the sound of the pulse generator. Okay, so now I'm quickly going to go through how everything's routed together, and you can kind of understand how all this stuff works. This is my wall of test equipment here. Everything starts with these two units. So this is being fed by the record player switch here, and the record player is controlling this here. And this is a pulse generator. This talks to most of the test equipment that I have. This one is only meant to talk to one because the voltages are high. It doesn't actually work with anything else. But it does do well with this serial data generator because for some reason the clock requires it takes up to +7 or something, plus or minus. So for some reason it just needs a little more oomph to make it to clock it. So I actually marked all of these with a little tape here with some numbers to kind of help make this easier to explain. This pulse generator is actually plugged into this data sequence generator, which does a lot of different things, and I made a video about this, and I'll put a link to that. Now going from here, this is track 1. This clock goes to this HP function generator, and then this out goes over to my patch bay into track 1, which then goes into this this board here. And I'll talk a little about this in just one second. So track 2, again, starts with serial data generator. Track 2 comes from out of this data port, and then goes into this WaveTech sweep generator. The sweep generator then has an output here. And this goes to track 2 in the patch bay. Now we have track 3, which will go back to here. Remember this guy, the HP, so this is another output here. Now this track 3, this actually goes out of here and actually clocks this this noise generator, and then the output of the noise generator then goes into the patch bay, which is track 3. You notice here I'm not using any effects or anything like that. There's already enough stuff going on. I'm just putting everything in, but I did use 8 tracks. Track 4. Now we're going to jump over to here. So this this electronic stimulator is going into the serial data generator, and track 4 comes out of here, and this is being fed into a Tektronix function generator, and then that track goes right into the patch bay in track 4. Track 5, we're going to jump back to here, this data sequence generator. So then you take this one output here, or this clock, and it's going to go into this pattern generator, which is another rhythm generator. Here's the out here, and that goes up to this other function generator, and then this in turn, the output goes to track 5 in the patch bay. Track 6 is another output on here. Here's the out. There's outputs for these function generators, these HP function generators, are in the back. So I have these fed into a patch bay here. So this is actually going fed into this one unit. So here's the output here, and then that in turn goes into track 6. Track 7 is actually coming out of this tone burst generator. Now a couple different things are going in here. This is an output in the back that actually gates it. Tone burst generator will, it kind of cuts whatever's going into it into bits. It can create some cool rhythms that way. So you can take anything and go into it, and then you can gate it and control the tempo of it, which is cool. And that's why this is where this guy comes in. This is a time mark generator, which is kind of an interesting unit. It's a bit of a unitasker, but it creates some really cool tones. So what happens is that when these different buttons are pressed at the same time, it plays all of the frequencies at the same time. So you can create this cool dissonance. And it also has these outputs for banana jack, which I have these adapters here, where you can actually take each one out separately by using the ground here. But right now I just have an output, and I have all these pressed down and creating this cool dissonance. This is being fed into the pulse or tone burst generator, and then that is being gated. I wrote 8 here. That's wrong. It's the 7 gate by this serial data generator. That's being fed into patch bay here, and then that goes into the back of this, and that's basically chopping this into beats that are in rhythm. And then this is track 7, and that goes into the patch bay there. So now, last but not least, we have track 8, which is this wave tech is basically linked to this one, and then the output of this is going into this lock-in amplifier. Which gives me some playability. I can do some stuff on the fly with this. And then the output of this simply goes into track 8. So this is the patch bay, BNC patch bay that I put together. If you ever want to do something like this, don't use or buy the ones that are for video. I made that mistake. You want to get the ones, this is like acrylic or a plastic base or face to it. You don't want to share grounds when you're doing this stuff for music, because I discovered this when I was doing a smaller setup where I use direct boxes to condition the signal so it doesn't blow anything up. And just by the direct boxes touching each other, there was this weird ghost or bleeding that was going on between the tracks, and it's probably harming the equipment and causing all kinds of problems. So you want to keep the ground separate. That's why I use BNC more than banana, if I can help it. So here's the secret here. Here I'm going to actually turn on the flashlight. This is what's going on back here. So see, these are all direct boxes, all hooked up. Some down here too. Even though they're touching each other, I actually have them separated with electrical tape, so they actually don't touch each other. That's kind of important, so that you don't have that effect that I was talking about. I have a separate shelf too that I can add here, so I do effect pedals and stuff like that, add that to this, or maybe if I want another mixer or whatever, I can add it to this. That's an important part of this setup. The record player is being fed simply into the tape in on the board, and that's pretty much it. It sound looks complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. Compared to what I can do with everything here. I just wanted to kind of keep it pretty straightforward because there's already enough going on with the samples on the vinyl and the flexi disc. And I also decided to do some percussion and to add a few vocals over top of this, and check it out.